Hello everyone, this will be my first in my series of Who's Who videos where I basically go over the general and basic origins and characteristics of different Marvel, DC, and other publishers' characters. Since pretty much every major DC and Marvel character have had several reboots in their character's history, I've decided to just go over the essentials, the original. Use most of my material from the original origin story, and go over a few highlights of the character's history. But I'm not gonna really dab into every single different side story and reboot and new origin stories that they create over the years, or even the current continuity, because that's just too much. Really, what these videos aim to do is give you the roots of the character, the original story of the character. And this episode is basically focused on the Punisher, which I'll be going over right now. The Punisher is a anti-hero. He's a vigilante. He's not like other heroes like Captain America or Spider-Man that has a code of honor and a code against killing. He's a straight up killer basically. He's a vigilante in the truest form of the word. Not like Batman, not like Green Arrow. He is a vigilante that uses guns, primarily guns, explosions, knives. He's very well versed in basically every type of weaponry and warfare of modern day. Um, he originally was a it's been changed a lot in the comics, but originally he was a Vietnam vet um, that was special forces Marines, and he basically was a real badass in the war. Got lots of medals of honor and all that stuff. When he came back from the war, he had his family. He had two kids. It might have changed over the years, but I think it was a daughter and a son, and a wife. Well, they go to Central Park one day to have a picnic, or I think it was a picnic in the original storyline, and they get gunned down. His family gets gunned down by the gangsters, the mob. And so the Punisher, in some storylines, the Punisher, was hurt, injured, and he survives. But in all of them, he survives, and he just gets hell bent on it. He goes completely nuts and just decides the police force can't handle this, and they won't do it. They won't do what needs to be done. So he takes the law into his own hands and basically goes after criminals on a street level, fighting on their own turf, with their own rules. He has no remorse when it comes to criminals. Now he has shown sympathy for children and women, and innocents, but when it comes to murderers, rapists, and killers, really real bad guys, he does not show any remorse. He will kill them with a second's hesitation. The Punisher first appeared in Spider-Man in the issue, or old '70s issue of Spider-Man. He was originally created as a villain. He was going to be a one-time throwaway villain, but fans really liked the costume. They really liked the character, so he came back later as as an anti-hero, as the vigilante that we know him as now. The Punisher really doesn't have too many partners and supporting characters. Most of his supporting characters are Microchip, who is he's basically his one friend, who's a technological genius, who supplies Punisher with lots of his weapons and gadgets, and also usually keeps constant communication with him through comlink. Think of it kind of like his Oracle, or his yeah. Think of it basically as like his Oracle. Microchip has been with him since the '80s and has basically just been keep going ever since. The Punisher's basic abilities and skills are that very well trained in combat. Basically, every form he has studied multiple forms of hand-to-hand combat over the years. He's also studied in lots of different weaponry, using guns, bows, you know, explosives, knives. He's just very well trained and all that stuff. But other than that, he's also well trained in many other forms of of abilities. He is also very good at infiltration, infantry, camouflage, sneaking into areas. He has a very high pain threshold. He's endured some really horrific torture in his life. Um, he's developed the ability to speak multiple languages, and he's become very good at acting. Being able to impersonate other people, disguise himself as different people for his various missions against the underworld. And one of the things that makes Frank Castle, the Punisher's real name, is so interesting is that he is a very intelligent character. He's a very layered, intelligent character. He's not just this, dumb brute that that shoots everything that moves. He has a sophisticated side to him. And, he's not like book smart, but he's very intelligent in his own way. And that's one of the things that's so great about the character is that he's very multi-dimensional. The Punisher has been portrayed by many people over the years, and he's appeared in multiple medias. He's been in several video games. He has been featured in cartoons such as Superhero Squad, a very toned down, family friendly version of himself. He's also been in the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, also a slightly toned down version of himself. There's been 3 Punisher movies. The original Punisher 1989 movie, which starred Dolph Lundgren, was very far away from the actual source character. That Punisher didn't wear the classic skull emblem that the Punisher is known to wear. It was a very loosely based Punisher movie. Then we have the Punisher movie, the Thomas Jane movie, starring Thomas Jane as the Punisher, and with John Travolta as the mobster villain, which is my personal favorite of the 3 Punisher movies, but it's probably the one least well received. It's more well received than the 1989 movie by far, but it's still not the most well received Punisher movie. Thomas Jane plays a more emotional type of Punisher, and a more like toned down Punisher, I guess you would say. Like, he still kills people a lot in the movie, but he's not quite as aggressive and meticulous as he is. He's much more calculating in this movie. He does lots of manipulative ways to fight his enemies versus just killing them. In the 3rd Punisher movie stars Ray Stevenson. This Punisher movie has been critiqued as the most close to the comic books version of the Punisher, where he's just a complete savage, murdering machine, very graphic, very violent movie. It has some really bad use of CG, like it's over the top, like crazy over the top, and it's probably my least favorite of the movies because of that. But that movie does actually feature one of the Punisher's biggest villains in the comic books, Jigsaw, who is basically just a gangster who gets in a fight with Punisher and gets his face scarred up really bad, like jigsaw pieces, and basically decides he's gonna try to kill the Punisher any way possible. Other notable Punisher villains are the Kingpin, who is originally a Spider-Man villain, but then shifted to a Daredevil villain in the 80s, and has also shared stories fighting the Punisher. Punisher and Daredevil have also been widely teamed up many times, and their stories have kind of crossed paths a lot, which is why Punisher is actually a secondary character in the 2nd season of Daredevil by Netflix, portrayed by John Bernthal. And a lot of fans are really excited about this Punisher, me included. I think that this is probably by far the best Punisher live action portrayal of the character. He is a very cold, calculative Punisher, but yet he still shows an emotional side when it comes towards his family and women, and people that he respects, like Daredevil. The character all in all, the character is a great character. He's one of my favorite vigilantes, one of my favorite Marvel characters. He's just a very interesting character. You can kind of relate to him, the way he's clean the filth off the world. I'm definitely looking forward to his Netflix standalone series that will be coming out probably within the next year. They haven't released a release date for it at the time of this video, but it will most likely be coming out within the end of the year. So that is all I have for the Punisher. The basic origin, characteristics and skill sets of the Punisher. If there's anything I left out, please let me know in the comments. I was trying not to leave out any major aspects of the character's general, breakdown. But if I did, let me know. And then also I want to make more and more of these videos. So let me know if there's any particular characters you want to see a video of. Primarily Marvel and DC characters, since that's what I know more of. But I can always study up on other independent characters. But yeah, that is the end for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for future episodes.